screen. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dual Screen's Crossplay Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me, as always, he's in that other box. He's Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
I'm in a good mood.
How are you?
I'm in a very high energy mood.
Okay. Why?
Correct.
Why?
Because there's like good shit on the docket. I played a really good game recently that I'm anxious to discuss.
Oh, okay.
And there's awesome peeps in the chat. So it's always
fun.
Always good.
And what chat is that, Andy? I'll tell you what chat that is. That's our live chat when we record this show live every Tuesday night on twitch.tv/dualscreenstreams. And later, you can watch the show on youtube.com/dualscreens.tv, or you can listen to the audio version on your favorite podcast service of choice. Just search Dual Screens Podcasts. It's very simple. A baby can do it. Andy?
Yes, Steven.
Sometimes people want to hook us up with a couple bucks because we like to support indie developers, buy their games, do giveaways, go cover conventions, etc. And folks, if you're listening to this or you're watching this for the very first time, it's so simple. You could support us too by going to patreon.com/NDS podcast, just like our Patreon producers, Colton the Apprentice Nestler, FNH Paul, and Vegas Girl on fire. We cannot continue to grow without all of your support, so we do thank you very, very, very much. Andy, it's now time to slip into something comfortable, and that thing comfortable is the adventures in gaming. What do you got?
Well,
what do you got for me?
A little known game was released on Friday. A very little known franchise.
Yes. Yeah. Much ignored franchise. Yes. Yeah.
Metroid. So I picked up Metroid Dread, and my first thing was, I got to play through Fusion, just so I'm fully caught up on the
Really?
series.
That's what you did? Okay.
Because I think I left off on, I finished all the primes, which my mistake was save the primes for when Part 4 is almost going to come out. You know, I'm a big dumb stupid.
Yeah, you played them all, didn't you?
Right. So I was like, I got to finish Fusion, because that's a great game. That's like an afternoon, really, when you think about it. It's a really short game. It's also the most linear Metroid game of the bunch. So I did that. Love that, as always. And then I played Dread. And it was just this beautiful, amazing piece of art that it really shows you what a non-Nintendo developer can do with a Nintendo IP when Nintendo has a hands-on involved approach. Case in point, Mercury Steam, who made this game, also did some Castlevania games.
Right.
One which was great, and two which were poop.
Okay.
And I think the idea there was, Konami said, listen, your game has a gothic feel to it. We're going to slap Castlevania on this. We'll trust you. It's contract work. Just get the thing done, and we'll pay you. You had some success. Great. Make a part 2. Make a DS version, and we'll be all Gucci. But there's no oversight. There's no, this feels wrong for our intellectual property. And that's why I think those games kind of went in the end, and we never saw any more of that franchise from Mercury Steam. And then they did Metroid. You got Samus Returns, which was fucking amazing. And now Dread, Dread is like what I always wanted in the Metroid game. Something that was like really pushing towards full-on horror in the franchise. And
yeah, that's what I heard.
Chasing you around.
Yeah.
Is telling you, man. I think this is my favorite Metroid game.
What?
Like ever.
What?
Andy, and I love a lot of them. I hold them in high regard, and yeah, this is like my favorite one.
My favorite part is when Samus gets really frustrated and goes, I am the law. That's my favorite part.
It's the best part, dude.
Dread. I am the law.
Best part.
I am looking forward to eventually playing that game. So here's something you may not know about me.
Yes.
I feel like you do know it, though.
Yes.
Super Metroid's the only Metroid I ever beat that's 2D.
Wow.
Metroid and Super Metroid are the only two Metroids that side-scrolling Metroids that I ever played.
Got it. So didn't play 2, didn't play 4.
And I beat Metroid Prime.
And did. Oh, okay.
But I did not.
Of the Primes.
Yes. I played Metroid Prime 2, never beat it, and I did not play Metroid Prime 3. Which I believe was Echoes? Or is that Hunters?
Echoes was the DS version. That's
right,
Hunters.
Right. Yeah.
Echoes is 2, and then Corruption is 3.
Okay.
So yeah, you have a lot to play.
So I didn't play any of those. So I think I wasn't a huge Nintendo guy when Metroid kind of hit its real stride on the portable in the GBA DS era. Like I knew Metroid as as Metroid and Super Metroid, and then like Metroid Prime, and then it disappeared from my life forever. So, but I'm looking forward to playing it because it seems like it's learned a lot from the genre, because the genre moved on past Metroid for these last 5 or 6 years for sure.
You know what? It's you know how Bloodstained was it was very Symphony of the Night formula. It didn't try to break that mold, which was broken by Hollow Knight and so many other games before it.
Right.
This game shatters the Metroidvania like mold and really tries to do new things and exciting things, and that's why I love it so much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I have a full-blown addiction, Andy.
Bro, what is happening?
Not since City of Heroes have I been
what
fully
is going
addicted
on
to an MMO like I am addicted to New World.
I'm scared. I'm scared for you. I'm scared for falling into this pitfall of this game.
So, yeah.
I want to play other shit.
So here's the thing. My problem is that I haven't found a game since Kena that I've been dying to play, so I haven't had a reason to pull me away from New World right now. Like, I'm not intrigued enough and plus I don't really have the money either. Like, that's the other thing. The New World was gifted to me. I have plenty of indie games that I need to catch up to and play with, and play. So I'll be doing that as well in the coming weeks. But New World, man, I think it was made specifically for people who like to play open world RPGs with a gajillion side quests. I don't necessarily think it's really there is like party-based dungeon crawling and expeditions or high level content. There is that stuff, which is what drives MMOs usually. But the thing that really makes up most of this game it has survival elements without the surviving part. So it's a lot of foraging, a lot of crafting, a lot of doing all of that stuff. And the purpose for it is you level up your character with everything you do, like a Skyrim. But you can make things for yourself, or you can make things and sell it. But the map constantly has things to do. It'll be like, here's a couple of blue things. I'll right click and track that quest. Here's a couple of yellow ones. I'll track those. And you're just exploring like, oh shit, iron. Yeah. I mined iron. Oh, a tree. Yeah, I knocked down a bunch of trees. I got some wood now. And like, as you're doing this, you're just leveling up. And the weapons level up. Your weapon abilities level up based on which weapons you use. And those are basically the classes. But I like kind of made my own class. I'm kind of like a weird dragoon character because I'm using a spear and I have a life staff. So like I'm a healer spear character, high DPS, but also can heal. But I have I'm a glass cannon. Like I have no health. So like I'm kind of playing that way. But I think there's always something. The carrot at the end of the stick is always directly in front of your face. and then there's another carrot right in front of it and another carrot in front of that, and it's just a line of carrots just standing in front of you, and you're like, I got one. It's like The Witcher, except you could play it with your friends. That's really what it is.
Loop. Yeah.
It's just constantly hitting your cerebellum, releasing serotonin, and it's just like, yay, you did it, yay, you did it, yay, you did it. Numbers are going up, sounds are happening, you're unlocking something, you're finding something. It's got the Diablo loot loop. It's got the Skyrim exploration and leveling up of your skills. It has survival elements of, say, Valheim, which I really liked. It's got combat kind of like a Witcher. It's Witcher-like combat, really, is what it is. So it's hack and slash, but it's more like you have to parry or dodge, and mix and match your different weapon styles and stuff. You could put oils on your weapons. It's surprisingly deep. The world is cool. It's not blowing me away. Like, I'm not totally in love with everything because it seems very run-of-the-mill, zombie-like creatures, skeletal guys.
Right.
I'm not really blown away with that yet, but I say only, but I'm like halfway to the level cap. But I also haven't been doing any main quests. I'm literally just running around doing all this side bullshit. One of the cool mechanics of it, and it's something that is really interesting, especially for PvP players. So there's PvE and PvP. You could decide if you want to do PvP. And so there's factions, and these factions are depending on where you're doing missions, what city you're doing missions in, what territory you're doing missions in, you're getting faction tokens in that territory. And eventually a faction will be able to take over that territory. And when you do, you could get money from the other factions, because anything that they do costs them money. So if they're going to craft, it costs them money, and that money goes to your city, goes to the faction, goes to the taxes, gets, spread out to the, I don't know exactly how it gets spread out, but you're basically taxing the other players to function in the town you took over.
Oh, wow.
So I could be like, all right, I see a lot of another faction in this city, and we still have the city, but it looks like we're going to lose it. Is it better if I go to a city we don't have that has a lot of my faction running around in it doing quests, abandon this town, let this one fall, but then again, that's the town that I have the highest level crafting or whatever, because it's all town specific. So it's got a really cool little loop for that. I'm level 29 right now.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this game, given its immense popularity and impact, being a Game of the Year contender?
Yeah, actually I do. It's personally, it's not my Game of the Year contender. I think this is
I'm thinking how Fortnite became a Game of the Year.
Yeah.
In that same realm. By those standards, I feel this could also kind of lean that way.
If they can prove that they are not going to abandon the game and add meaningful content before the year's end, and we're getting close to the year's end, if they could add something, it doesn't have to be a huge world expansion, but maybe just show right now the skins are very limited. And you have to use real world money, or you do Twitch drops or stuff like that. You can earn some currency to do things, but maybe if they add something to make characters more individual from each other, something either on the cosmetic side or customization side, or even maybe a new weapon to play with. If they could show that they are going to truly support the game by constantly giving something new, even if it's small things at a time, I think it will definitely be in the conversation for Game of the Year, because it does everything it wants to do really well. It was said, and I believe it was Purger that said it, but this is what I would want an Elder Scrolls Online game to be. And I think I said that last week too.
Yes.
But it's got that's the vibe I got. I wish I'm not really into the whole pirate theme, colonialism. Like, I'm not really into that aesthetic. It's a lot of brown coats and gray and kind of muddy. And then as you level up, like, the worlds, the towns you go to are a little bit more diverse. There's a lot more color, but the characters themselves, they just don't stand out to me right now. Like, everybody has the same skins. You can dye your clothes, but it really doesn't look great. Like, most of them look kind of just another shade of brown, just like a green brown.
Lovely.
But I digress. Andy, what do we got in the indie news update?
Well, speaking of Game of the Year contenders, friend of the show, Let's Build a Zoo. Is out on November 5th.
Oh boy.
Gotta get
I can't wait for people to play that game.
I can't wait. Just fucking splicing.
Listen to that show.
Or some zoo animals, yeah. But yeah. And that takes us into the dual screens report.
Oh, that's it. You just wanted to give a little update.
One and done.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Very good. So you've been playing Metroid Dread, and apparently a lot of people are.
Dude, this makes me so goddamn happy. So Metroid it's not a historically huge number doer for Nintendo. I think as far as their marquee like IPs go, like, yes, folks know Samus, but she don't sell that well compared to like a Mario or a Kirby or a Link or a Zelda for Nintendo.
Know your audience, man.
Right. But Metroid Dread is doing sensationally.
Sensational.
And judging by the sales in the UK, which is the third largest market for games, mind you. Let's do some quick recap here. Metroid Dread, after 1 week, is already the 8th best-selling Metroid game and 6th in terms of revenue, and has already outsold Samus Returns.
Okay.
It has outsold a 3DS game, which was it had way more 3DS in the market when this game was released, and it was cheaper than Metroid Dread.
Wait, they don't mean the remake on Switch?
So Samus Returns was the remake of Part 2 on the 3DS.
They're not talking about the one that they remade on 3DS for... Oh, wait. You're right. It was only on 3DS. I thought they did that on Switch too. Okay, no,
it was only on 3DS.
That's right, because I that's the only reason why... excuse me. That's the only reason why my 3DS is still...
Didn't you borrow that from me?
No, I wanted to. I was going to, and then the pandemic... So
yeah, that's right.
And we never did.
Holy
so it's
shit,
sitting. It's
right.
My 3DS is still sitting in my work drawer.
Right. And one more point on this bit of news is that in terms of revenue, so launch numbers are a little behind Metroid Prime, which was again a huge game on the GameCube. This is in terms of revenue, the highest grossing Metroid game launch so far in a week. So this is big numbers for Metroid Dread, and I have high hopes for Part 4, for Prime 4 to come out sometime soon, because that's going to sell even more than this, I feel.
It's really weird that Nintendo looks at Metroid and like Star Fox as... You want to call it B tier, maybe even C tier?
Yeah, they're in this weird like black sheep category, I feel, of Nintendo franchises. Like, I think you can throw even Punch-Out in that same category, where it's like people know them, like F-Zero. They love them, but they don't do numbers. And it's like, well, Animal Crossing sells like a quadrillion units in a day. We're not going to invest in a new Metroid. Or like even Mario Kart, it can't even get us a Part 9 because 8 Deluxe is doing so well. So it's all about sales for them. And thankfully, this means we're going to get more Metroid in the future. It's a lock-in.
Well, the reason why I brought that up is that they put such a focus on Samus as a tentpole in the Smash Bros. like
Right.
game.
Yeah. Like she
So like
gets.
they know that she's important. Like
Mhm.
like they know that.
Because she's
But
legacy. She's legacy Nintendo.
by putting so much thought and love into her in Smash Bros, they're keeping her relevant rather than legacy. Like they're like
Right.
for me, like a legacy Nintendo character is like a Game and Watch. Like
Well,
we're not
right.
playing Game and Watch. We're not making those anymore.
Seriously, yeah. But then
Or
again,
Ness. You know, like those are legacy characters that you're not going to do anything with, so you give them all the love in the world in this. But like, you can take, and they're obviously doing it. We're getting two of them, in the span of a year, I assume, or 2 years. You're taking Metroid, the Metroid franchise, and you're at least putting it out in the universe and letting. I hope they just get it, or at least some return on their investment on it, so that they could at least see that there's some value there.
Right.
The audience is older.
Yes.
For Metroid. It just is. It always has been. Those games were not easy for kids. Like it was not easy for me as a kid to understand the concept of going backwards. It wasn't easy. Blaster Master wasn't easy for me. Right. It wasn't until I was like a preteen that I really understood how the game functioned.
We got like 3 new Blaster Master games in the same time frame before we get a new Metroid 2D side-scroll game.
Yeah.
But I hope that what we're gonna get now is Retro does a Prime FPS Metroid game and Mercury Steam does a 2D classic camera Metroidvania game. I feel you can have those two teams just kind of like release consistent titles and not make us wait 15 years for a new 2D Metroid game that's brand new and not a remake. Just a thought.
Speaking of brand new games, we have some info on Avowed here, Andy.
Ooh, this got me a little bit chubbed.
Yes. So this is coming from IGN, written by Kat Bailey.
Yes.
Avowed reportedly has destructible environments and is, quote, deep into pre-production. Pre-production. Just to put everything into perspective, that means they haven't made the game yet. Like the game it's being planned. Okay. A little more than a year since its original announcement, which is scary. We still know comparatively little about Avowed, the new first RPG from Obsidian, based in the Pillars of Eternity universe. However, a new report from Windows Central appears to shed light on the project, revealing that it's well into pre-production and that it will feature many elements Pillars of Eternity fans are familiar with. They reportedly include familiar spells such as Jolting Touch and Fetid Caress, as well as creating creatures like the Zaurips. I think that's right.
Yep.
The report repeatedly compares Avowed to Skyrim and Oblivion, describing it as undoubtedly Obsidian's take on the Elder Scrolls. It may go as far as to include destructible environments with fire spells leaving areas coated in flames.
Ooh, give it to me. It's
reportedly in pre-alpha and is not yet playable. That seems like it's past pre-production then if it's in pre-alpha, but maybe it's just semantics. Obsidian is said to be making steady progress. This is very exciting because these are my favorite types of games.
Me too.
The ones that are as deep as those isometric stat horror games, those loot and stat horror games, but like 3D and fully immersive. Like that's what I look for in my RPGs now. For the longest time, I had no idea that this game was set in the Pillars of Eternity universe. That might be the first time I'm hearing that too.
Right. Yeah. Like I read about this a while ago, but when it was first announced, I had no idea that was the case. Then I was like, oh shit, I love Pillars of Eternity. Because that was like Obsidian's take on Baldur's Gate. Because that franchise went to poo poo caca until it came back in part 3, which is great. But yeah, like I like this format of this universe. Like I enjoy Fallout, but I'm all about magic and mages and spells and goblins and trolls and all that, and spiders,
skeletons and dragons,
and spooky things. And yeah, I am very much looking forward to this game when it comes out. Hopefully I would wager 2024 is a good, could be a good year for
Um,
this one.
yeah, I think that it's a great team. You know, like
Mhm.
I liked Outer World. Um, but something about that universe wasn't catching me like I hoped it would.
Mhm.
It almost felt a little bit, and I hate to say this, but it felt a little rushed. Like
Mhm.
there
Right.
was something about it that just felt like it was very too familiar. Just put it that way. Like it was a little bit
Right.
too samey.
Because you knew they were what they were trying to emulate. It was their own New Vegas, more or less. And it's like, oh, it's
Sure.
familiar, like a warm bath that you slip into after a long day of work.
Right.
And I'm hoping with Avowed that they sort of kind of make it their take on a Skyrim, but now that your company Umbrella also owns Skyrim, it's gonna be different than Skyrim.
Yeah,
So
I'm hoping for that
just
too. Yeah.
just go crazy with it. Make it like, I would say even ask Bethesda, what's your Skyrim 6 notes? Can we look at those? All right, well, we won't do that. We won't do that. We'll do this other crazy shit instead. Make it different. I want two different kind of experiences by the time this is out and Skyrim 6,
Right.
which is due in 2030, more than likely.
For sure. All right, Andy, take us into the next
Ooh, this is weird.
rumors.
This is weird. This is a confirmation of sorts of an unannounced remake.
Mm-hmm.
So we reported last week that Chinese studio Virtuous is working on, this is a rumor, of course, per VGC and other outlets, working on a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, which to me sounds great. One of the best games in the entire Metal Gear franchise. I want to see it made. Cool. Awesome. But it's just a rumor. Now you have a employee of Virtuous saying the lead programmer, Ziyang Li, mentioning on his LinkedIn profile that he's working on a AAA quality level art remake in 4K graphics that features set piece destruction.
Ooh.
So we have the company that was rumored to be working on a remake confirming that they're working on a remake. Is that remake Metal Gear Solid 3? Could be. The timing feels very, very coincidental. Um, had the news of an MGS3 remake had broken after this LinkedIn profile thing, I would call bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
but it broke before. So I feel
Interesting.
this lends it more credence. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you someone told you that before and now it's on this guy's LinkedIn. That seems awfully like, yeah, it's a move slightly more in the real column than it was a week ago. But we shall see.
Andy,
Just
this
don't
next
fuck it up.
story should have been in the hype zone.
No, because the hype zone, there's like 3 news bits that are hype zone today.
Yeah.
Your last one especially is like
Mm-hmm.
right there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a silly week. But this is
Ladies and
even
gentlemen,
more silly. Go
I
ahead,
hope you're
Steven.
sitting down because according to reports, Rockstar, 2K, right? Take
Mhm,
two, 2K, take two, whatever.
mhm, mhm.
Turns
2K.
out they like money.
They do an awful lot.
Rockstar could be set to place a premium price point on the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy remasters, according to a retail listing. Retailer base.com is the first to open pre-orders for the Definitive Edition collection, which includes enhanced versions of the PS2 games GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. And on the next gen consoles, or new gen as we call it, $70, Andy.
Wow.
Full price, $60 on last gen.
Here's what I'm
Oh
trying to understand.
my. Yes.
Are you trying to tell me that
Mm.
the old gen consoles somehow can't do what the new gen consoles are doing for fucking PlayStation 2 games? Are you saying that an Xbox One and a PS4 can't run a PS2 game in 4K and 60 FPS?
You know what this means, don't you, Andy?
Is that what we're paying for
No.
with this? Is that what that means?
What you're paying for, Andy, is ray tracing. You're gonna get ray tracing on your upscaled 4K PS2 graphics, and it's gonna look beautiful.
Even that aside, Steven, how do you charge so much money?
I don't care. I'm
for
not
3
buying it.
PlayStation 2 games.
I don't care. I'm not buying it.
This is Nintendo level scum.
Is it?
Pricing policy?
Is it? They're
Yes.
kind of they're kind of the most popular games on the PS2.
Right, and people will gobble them up.
$20 a piece.
No.
Yeah.
I can play them on my phone in better quality, probably.
Oh, you don't know that. You don't know that.
I'd rather put that money towards the Steam Deck and then pirate these 3 games when they come out. That's all I'm gonna do. Fucking people try to take my hard-earned cash from me.
What did the pirate say on his 80th birthday?
Are you in the mood for some cake?
Matey. Get it? I'm 80.
I get it.
Anyway,
I get it, Steven.
Fuck it. They're gonna charge money for it. Who cares?
It's dumb. It's dumb. I don't like it.
Speaking of money,
it's gonna sell a lot. Yeah, this is also weird.
Right.
Yo, China has no chill.
No chill.
China is like, listen, if we're gonna remake Metal Gear, we want to own part of a company that Konami is also involved with somehow. So Tencent has acquired 22% stake in Bloober Team.
Bloober Team.
They are now the largest stakeholder in the Polish studio, having spent 77.6 million PNL, PNL, I don't know what currency that is, on
Polish
22% of its shares.
Polish something.
Yes.
Polish monies.
So yeah, Tencent just keeps putting their hands in all the pots, all the things, and I don't like it.
Here's what I don't understand. I honestly don't understand something.
Yeah.
Like, I know the point of owning companies like this is to do essentially hostile takeovers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that they could hide a lot of their losses if they're spending, if they're diversifying, right? Like you could basically write off a lot of loss, offset them. I know from that aspect why it would be good to diversify.
Mm.
They are a massive company.
Mm.
How are they making money? And like, I know as a person, if you play money in the market and you get a return on that money, you could withdraw the money, keep your percentage of the company where it's at, and just sell off profit. Is that what Tencent is doing? Or are they just, like, I don't understand what they do when they own parts of a company.
I sort of read this theory, which sounds kind of nutty, but hear me out.
Boy.
What if Tencent is acquiring just enough majority stake in a company, like a Bloober, and then when someone comes along that wants to get the whole piece of the pie, it's like, all right, well, you gotta like give me a decent price because I own most of the shit and you can't buy it without my say. So give me some really hard cash. That's an option. I mean, they own parts of Clay, Don't Nod, Platinum Games. They own all of Sumo Digital. So they're in a lot of shit. And I'm wondering if having their toes in every,
in basically every pool they could put their toes in is the right play, because it's basically the opposite of what like Microsoft does, right? Like Microsoft is like 100% or 0%.
Well, yeah, because their intention is, I want to sell Game Pass and get subscribers and have games on our platform. That's to increase revenue. Right.
And Nintendo's very similar, except Nintendo will partner up, as will Sony. I mean, Microsoft partners up also, but I feel like Microsoft is more likely to have a good relationship with a partner and then gobble that partner up. Sony's a little slower to do that. And Nintendo is like super hesitant. Like they will not.
I can't even think of the last time I heard Nintendo acquires so and so. Do you even recall that headline ever
No.
recently?
The only time I ever
10 years?
remember any sort of controversy or whatever involving a Nintendo studio was when Microsoft bought Rare.
Right.
That was the only time I
Right.
ever remember anything weird happening with what I thought was a
'cause they
Nintendo
never-
studio.
Yeah, because that was like a strict second party deal with Nintendo.
Right.
It's like Retro. Retro has been making games for years, and they never think to acquire them. But somehow Retro, I feel, only does work for Nintendo somehow, and no one else bothers them for other projects.
It could just be it could just be a bandwidth thing, right? Like they could just have too
Right.
many contracts. Like they have
Right.
big contracts. They don't have a huge, staff or a
Right.
big enough staff to take on multiple contracts like that. Like our friends or our friends at a studio to be named that won't be named because I think it's embargoed information.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I think
It's
Tencent's scary. Let me just put it this way. Tencent is scaring me because I don't understand how I don't understand how a major corporation diversifying because they're not diversifying product. They're diversifying IP in one product.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're in one major, well, obviously they're in other major, but like the one that they keep getting known for are the video game stuff, and they're just continuing to buy little pieces here and there, and I don't know what the end goal is here.
Didn't they also get a huge chunk of what is that fucking Quantic Dream?
I think so. Yeah. I think they did that one too. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just like, what is the end result in all this? I don't know. But I don't like.
Do they have any part? I feel like they have a part of THQ Nordic. I could be making that up in my head.
Yeah.
I think they have like a part of something else. I don't know. I don't know. Well, listen, this is the final story in the Dual Screens report.
See, this is what I was telling you.
This is almost hype. This is hype worthy,
but I told you.
This is good. We have plenty of animal lovers.
We do
in the house. Plenty of animal lovers.
Mm-hmm.
But none love animals more than PETA.
Mm-hmm.
PETA is up in arms, ready to fucking just come to blows with Far Cry 6 developers. Ready to go. Because there is cockfighting in Far Cry 6. And it's not just cockfighting. It's a full-on minigame.
You gotta read the quote.
Okay, here we go. Here's the quote
that says, this the first line.
Yep. Turning a horrific blood sport like cockfighting into a Mortal Kombat style video game match is a far cry from real innovation, and today's society is strongly opposed to forcing animals to fight to the death.
Did they think the pun would work in their favor? Like someone was like, "Oh, that's gonna really stick it to Ubisoft." This is a far cry from real innovation. PETA, I there again. I am all about animal love and not treating animals cruelly and like torturing them. I get it. But in a game where you can blow people's heads off,
Andy, you're missing the point.
And go on.
Listen, I love you, but you're missing the point here. Congress has fought about how video games make children violent for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, where PETA is worried that this is going to teach chickens to fight and roosters to fight each other.
Oh my God.
They're learning bad behavior
Steven,
from watching Mortal Cockfight.
This is it.
That's what this is all about. Because they're teaching your young cocks how to wear sharp claws and slice each other up.
Yep. And it's also, getting Scorpion and Sub-Zero colors on them as well.
Right. PETA, I appreciate a lot of the work you do. I do.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a point at which you decide that a battle is far too dumb to fight.
Yeah, it's like it gets to a point where it's just cringy enough where you want bad things to happen to chickens just to piss off PETA.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is this makes me far less likely to want to support PETA when they're doing something that isn't ridiculous.
Right.
Like that, like it's the boy who cried wolf, you know?
Right.
Like, it just fucking stop it. It's a video game. We're not teaching our kids to go out and buy roosters and have them fight each other. It's a crime in the game. It's funny, kind of, the way they parody fighting games, but it's not like I don't know. Go to movie sets and fight for the animal rights over there when like dogs die on movie sets or horses die on movie sets. We go do that. Like, go ahead, go do that. Or like real cockfighting. Go after the real cockfighting that's happening in the world. Now here's my only concern. This is the one part I could side with PETA on.
Okay.
What kind of research did the team do to understand cockfighting? Because clearly they had to have known that these cocks are dressed up like Scorpion and so. I'm gonna watch a little bit of this if you don't mind.
Oh, it's hilarious, dude. It is fucking hysterical.
They have to know something.
And it's like we have games that are about hunting, like based off of hunting brands, like those Cabela games.
Right.
That exist, and there's no humor. It's just you and a gun and a poorly rendered deer that you're shooting at for sport, and yet a fun, cheeky cockfighting game in the Farcry.
This is ridiculous, Andy, because it's not even like they're doing. Okay, well, some of the moves are realistic, but they're doing like wing attacks. And I know that they have their problem with Pokemon too, so I'm not going to get into that. But this is like...
And Animal Crossing, for that matter.
Yeah. This is just silly shit.
Steven, and I think with...
There's not even any blood.
I think...
They're just beating the hell out of each other. It's funny.
I think with that exact phrase, silly shit,
yeah.
we should go into the hype zone.
Please do, Andy. I'm sorry. I'm mesmerized by this because...
Speaking of chickens...
I want to know where the love is for horses, because that My Little Pony brawler is out there. Okay.
Yeah, that exists. Speaking of chicken, this is the weirdest internet beef I've
What
ever
the
seen.
fuck is this, Andy? I saw this today too, and I'm like, what is happening on the internet? Go ahead.
KFC Gaming felt the need to tweet out a picture of Left 4 Dead alongside Back 4 Blood, which is out now on Game Pass, in case you're wondering. So play that shit ASAP. Every masterpiece has its cheap copy, which is fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But then Turtle Rock Studios, the makers of Back 4 Blood, which is also has some team members for Left 4 Dead, so it's like whatever, had this to say: 11 herbs and spices and still no taste. What in the actual fuck is happening on Twitter?
The best is, did you see what Grounded the Game said?
Yes, they said, I have it right here. They out here clearly forgetting what they did to Popeye's chicken sandwich. And you had like Insomnia Games chiming in. So many people were weighing in on this one stupid tweet. And there's like chicken gifts and Popeye's chicken sandwiches. And it just goes on. And the brain cells die a little bit more with each passing tweet. What prompted this? What brought this upon the world? Is this just... I don't know what they woke up today and thought, yeah, it's the thing that we all need in our lives right now.
Insomniac Games says, hey, we think you're great to Turtle Rock.
Yeah. Just, hey, we think you're great. Well, because they made a good game. They made a good game. Yeah, that'll do it for the hype zone, Steven. That was a lot of chicken.
I couldn't believe, and you know what, KFC, as much as I would like to say that they shouldn't be an authority on video games, they do have a video game console out. You know who doesn't? Turtle Rock.
Right. But they also aren't an authority on chicken either. So
no, but
how good are they with their gaming console? So there's that.
That's true.
To consider.
That's true. that is something that happened. Goodness gracious. Wrong. Anyway.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and KFC has a video game, the Colonel Sanders dating game. That's right, Miss Envy.
Yeah. There's also that.
That is going to do it for the show, Andy. That brings us to the end. We got it.
We did it. We nailed it.
We nailed this one like a split hog. I still don't know what that means, and I don't want to Google it because I'm afraid.
I'll do it for you.
I think it was in Talladega Nights.
Nailed it like a
you nailed that hog. Like a split hog. I don't know.
Let's see what the meaning is. I'll tell you right now.
Okay. Is it Urban Dictionary?
More than likely.
Okay. Please let me know.
When you're hog splitting, if you hit it hard enough to split in one go, you've nailed it.
What is a hog splitting?
Is it like an actual hog split? Like,
well, that's what I'm worried about.
Imagine a log. And it is Talladega Nights. That
Split
was a hell
log?
of a grace. That was a hell of a grace, man. You nailed that like a split hog.
It's hog, right? Like H-O-G?
Yeah, it is hog. But I'm saying, like, is it like when you split logs? Like you're splitting an actual pig in half. Is that what splitting is? Hog splitting.
But
it is
why
southern
would you do that
saying.
to a hog?
Before you cook it, you roast it on.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Because you do. You kind of you put when you spit.
Wait.
Okay, please confirm. This is the high quality content.
Right. Control F hog.
Miss Envy says it's a butcher thing.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like something with cutting a pig in half or cutting it in some way is splitting a hog. And if you do it in one go, you've nailed the hog split.
Got it. So like you just go, it's like filleting a fish where you're like, swah!
Right.
Poor piggies. Poor piggies. We love pigs around here. They're the most intelligent creatures outside of dolphins.
And very delicious.
Yes, we understand that. But, you know, we love pigs.
Right. Take us out of the show.
Pigs are great. Please don't hate us, PETA. please.
No, please hate us, PETA. I don't mind that hate at all.
We're not cock or pig fighting around here. Mm-hmm. None of that happening here. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the Dual Screens Crossplay podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, saying goodbye to you. Andy, did you have a good show?
Yeah, I think some cockfighting right now.
I almost went into the intro again to the show. I almost just started the show over again.
A jump start for next week while we're here.
I'm there.
Just do it again, but with different news.
Folks, if you want to follow us. Wow, what is happening today? Hold on, I need a drink. This is what happens when I don't have my proper beverage.
Right. But you had the grapefruit.
I did, but it's basically just water though. It doesn't have the bubbles like I like it because the ice destroys it. I hate it. Follow us on social media. We are at dual_screens. I'm at Batchild27. Andy's at PatsGuy. Purger is at It's Purger. And yes, he will be making a return soon. Soon. You could also follow Corey at The Grounded Gamer. Hit the follow button on twitch.tv/dualscreenstreams. Hit the sub button on youtube.com/dualscreens.tv. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And as always, please be excellent to each other.